Radical ownership is the moment your entire life shifts. It's the moment you stop pointing outward and finally look inward. Most people never get there because it's uncomfortable. It forces you to confront the truth that you are not stuck because of luck or timing or other people. You are stuck because of choices, habits, and patterns you've repeated for years, and accepting that truth doesn't feel good at first, but once you embrace it, everything becomes possible. Radical ownership means you take responsibility for every part of your life, not just the parts that look good from the outside. It means the results you have today, whether you love them or hate them, are a reflection of your actions over time. When you adopt this mindset, nothing is someone else's fault anymore. You stop blaming your parents, your partner, your boss, your city, your education, even your past. You start seeing your life as a series of decisions you made, decisions you avoided, and decisions you tolerated. This kind of responsibility is not about guilt or shame, it's about power, because the moment you accept that you created your current reality, you also accept that you have the power to create a new one. People who refuse to take ownership stay trapped because they keep waiting for something external to change. They wait for permission, they wait for motivation, they wait for the right time, they wait for others to act differently. But waiting is not a strategy, ownership is. Radical ownership transforms you because it forces you to examine your patterns honestly. You start asking yourself difficult questions. Why am I really not where I want to be? What habits are holding me back? What stories am I repeating to justify staying comfortable? When you ask better questions, you expose the gaps between who you are and who you want to be. And once you see those gaps clearly, you can finally close them. It also changes the way you respond to challenges. Instead of seeing problems as barriers, you start seeing them as feedback. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes information. Every mistake becomes an opportunity to adjust. When you operate from ownership, nothing is wasted, not even the difficult moments. You turn every experience into fuel for growth. The truth is, taking responsibility feels heavy at first, but carrying excuses is heavier. Excuses weigh down your potential. They keep you small. They keep you reactive. Ownership, however, frees you. It gives you direction. It puts you in the driver's seat of your life, and when you are driving, you get to choose the destination. Another powerful part of radical ownership is the shift in identity. When you take full responsibility for your life, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances. You begin to see yourself as a builder, a creator, a leader of your own path. That identity influences your behaviors every day. It pushes you to show up differently, to be more intentional, more disciplined, more consistent. You demand more from yourself because you know you are capable of more. And as you practice this mindset, your confidence grows. Not the loud, external confidence of pretending everything is fine, but the quiet internal confidence that comes from keeping promises to yourself. You trust yourself more because you know you will act, you know you will adjust, you know you will stay accountable. This inner trust becomes the foundation for every future success you build. Life doesn't magically improve when you take ownership. But you do, you grow, you evolve, you strengthen, and because of that, your life starts to reflect the new version of you. Radical change begins with radical ownership. When you stop blaming and start building, the life you want stops being a dream and becomes a direction. And once you claim full responsibility for your journey, nothing can hold you back except the limits you allow. Consistency is the only real superpower because it's the one thing that quietly outperforms talent, intelligence, motivation, and even luck. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they stop. They quit too early. They show up only when it feels good, or they wait for the perfect moment that never comes. But Consistency is different. It doesn't rely on feelings. It doesn't need permission. It doesn't require dramatic effort. It demands one thing: show up again today. Consistency is the great equalizer. You don't have to be the smartest, the fastest, or the most talented person in the room. You just have to be the one who keeps going when others slow down, When you show up every day, especially on the days when it's inconvenient, your small efforts compound into something unstoppable. 1 page a day becomes a book. 10 minutes of learning a day becomes expertise. A simple daily workout becomes strength and transformation. It's not magic, it's math. Little actions multiplied by time create big results. The world celebrates intensity, but the people who truly win are the ones who master repetition. Intensity will get you moving, but consistency will keep you growing. Anyone can be motivated for a week. Anyone can push hard for a moment, but consistency requires character. It requires that you do the things you said you would do long after the excitement disappears. It means choosing progress over perfection, effort over excuses, and discipline over mood. The truth is, consistency is not glamorous, it's not flashy, it's not something you can post online that gets applause every day. It's the quiet, private work you do when no one is watching. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep. It's practicing your craft when no one is praising you. It's sticking to the plan even when growth feels slow. But this kind of quiet work builds something loud, results. Consistency also reshapes your identity. Every time you show up, you cast a vote for the kind of person you believe yourself to be. When you repeatedly take action toward your goals, you stop just wanting the transformation. You become the person who earns it. You start trusting yourself more. Your confidence grows not because of what you achieve once, but because of what you continue to do again and again. You learn that success isn't a one-time event, it's a habit. Another important part of consistency is that it eliminates the need for perfection. You don't have to get everything right. You don't have to have the perfect strategy. You just need to keep moving. A flawed action repeated beats a perfect action delayed. Mistakes don't ruin consistency, quitting does, and once you understand that, you stop being so afraid to try. Consistency allows room for learning, adjusting, and improving along the way. When you commit to consistent action, momentum becomes your ally. Your habits start working for you instead of against you. Things that once felt difficult start becoming natural. What used to drain your energy becomes part of who you are. Over time, consistency creates a snowball effect. Small wins stack, confidence expands, and the life you want begins to shape itself around your efforts. In the end, consistency is the superpower because it is the only thing you can fully control. You can't control outcomes, timing, or luck, but you can control whether you show up today. And if you can do that, if you can build the discipline to return again and again, you become unstoppable. Success becomes inevitable. Dreams become achievable, and your future becomes something you build, not something you hope for. Consistency is ordinary, but its results are extraordinary. The people who master it don't just succeed, they transform. Your environment builds or breaks you because it shapes your identity long before you realize it. You become a reflection of what you repeatedly see, hear, and experience. The people around you, the conversations you participate in, the habits you witness, and the standards you normalize, these are all invisible architects of your future. Most people underestimate how much their environment influences them, but the truth is simple. You can have big goals and strong ambition, but if you're surrounded by small thinking, low standards, and negativity, your growth will always feel like swimming upstream. Your environment is powerful because it operates quietly. It doesn't ask for permission. It influences you even when you're not paying attention. If you spend time around people who complain constantly, you eventually adopt their language. If you're around individuals who avoid responsibility, you begin to lower your own standards. If your closest circle talks about problems more than solutions, you start accepting that pattern as normal. And once normal sinks in, it becomes your default behavior, but the opposite is also true. When you place yourself in an environment where growth is expected, responsibility is respected, and ambition is encouraged, you elevate naturally. You rise to match the energy around you. You start thinking bigger because everyone around you is thinking bigger. You start expecting more from yourself because the people near you expect more from themselves. When excellence is the baseline, you stop settling for mediocrity. Changing your environment doesn't always mean changing your physical location. Sometimes it means changing the influences that reach you daily. The books you read, the content you consume, the conversations you engage in, these are all parts of your environment. You can upgrade your life by upgrading what you allow into your mind. A single high standard influence can outweigh years of negative surroundings if you stay intentional about it. The most challenging part of environmental change is understanding that some relationships can't come with you to your next level. Not because you don't care about those people, but because you cannot grow in a space designed for your old self. You cannot build a new life while staying loyal to old patterns, and sometimes the people in your life aren't bad. They just aren't aligned with your vision. They want comfort, you want growth. They want familiarity, you want expansion. They want the past, you want the future. When you realize this, you stop feeling guilty for choosing environments that support your evolution. You stop defending your boundaries. You stop explaining your growth. You understand that your future depends on who you allow close to you. You become intentional about the energy you receive, and once you get serious about protecting your environment, your progress accelerates. Your environment also shapes your beliefs. If you're surrounded by people who think success is rare, you'll begin to believe it too. If you're around people who think opportunities are limited, you'll shrink your goals. But if your environment is filled with people who pursue excellence, who take ownership, who challenge themselves, you start believing that growth is your normal. You stop seeing your goals as dreams and start seeing them as expectations. The most powerful environments are the ones that challenge you, they stretch you, they hold you accountable, they don't let you settle for the version of yourself you were yesterday. These environments feel uncomfortable at first because they demand more from you, but they transform you because they reveal the potential you forgot you had. In the end, your environment is either your anchor or your launch pad. It either keeps you stuck in the same cycles or pushes you into the life you're meant to build. If you want to change your future, start by changing what you surround yourself with, because you will always rise or fault the level of the environment you choose. Building skills before expecting results is one of the most powerful principles of long-term success, yet it's the one most people overlook. We live in a world where everyone wants outcomes immediately: more money, better opportunities, bigger achievements. But very few people are willing to become the kind of person who can actually sustain those results. Skills are the foundation, and without the foundation, anything you build will eventually collapse. You cannot shortcut mastery, and you cannot demand results you haven't prepared yourself to handle. Most people get frustrated not because they lack potential, but because they lack the skills their goals require. They set big targets, feel inspired for a moment, and then lose momentum when progress feels slow. But that's not failure, that's feedback. It's life telling you you're aiming in the right direction. Now equip yourself for the journey. Skills are the tools. They make the path easier. They make progress predictable. They turn complicated challenges into manageable steps. When you commit to building skills first, you stop chasing outcomes and start building capabilities. And capabilities travel with you everywhere. If you lose everything tomorrow but you have skills, you can rebuild. If the opportunity disappears, you can create a new one. Skills make you adaptable. They make you valuable. They make you resilient. The person who is skilled never fears loss because they know they can generate results again and again. One of the biggest misconceptions is believing that results build confidence. They don't. Skills do. When you know how to do something well, you trust yourself more. You make better decisions. You act faster. You take bolder risks. Confidence becomes a natural byproduct of competence. The more skilled you become, the less you rely on motivation, and the more you rely on ability. And ability never leaves you. Another truth is this: skills require patience. They demand repetition, practice, and humility. You cannot become excellent at something you only practice occasionally. Mastery comes from consistent effort and deliberate improvement. It means studying the craft, learning from mistakes, seeking feedback, and being willing to look like a beginner before you look like an expert. There is no shame in the early stages of learning, only growth. Skills also separate dreamers from doers. Dreamers imagine big results. Doers build the abilities necessary to achieve them. When you invest in skills, you're not waiting for opportunities, you're preparing for them. You're positioning yourself so that when the door finally opens, you're ready to walk through it with confidence instead of hesitation. Most people meet opportunities unprepared. Skilled people meet opportunities fully equipped. And here's the beautiful part. Results eventually chase the person who is skilled. You don't have to force success when you become the kind of person who consistently delivers excellence. Your work speaks for you. Your capabilities become visible, people trust you, opportunities multiply because you're known for what you can do, not what you want. Building skills first also changes your mindset. You stop measuring progress only by outcomes and start measuring it by improvement. You become more patient, more disciplined, and more intentional. You start valuing learning, challenge, and growth. You understand that the journey matters just as much as the destination because the journey is where you become the person who can handle the destination. If you're not seeing the results you want yet, don't be discouraged. Don't assume you're failing. Ask yourself, what skills does the next level of my life require? Then commit to developing them relentlessly. The results will come, and when they do, they will come to stay, because you will have earned them through ability, not chance. Build the skills, and the results will follow. Maybe not immediately, but inevitably. Discipline is the bridge from who you are to who you want to be, because it connects your current reality to your future identity through consistent action, not wishful thinking. Dreams, intentions, motivation, these are all powerful, but none of them matter without the structure that discipline provides. Discipline turns ambition into progress. It transforms ideas into habits and habits into results. Without discipline, your goals remain fantasies. With discipline, even the impossible becomes reachable. The truth is, discipline is rarely exciting. It's not the spark, it's the fuel. It's not the moment you feel inspired, it's the decision you make afterward. Discipline asks you to do the work when you don't feel like it. It asks you to choose long-term growth over short-term comfort. It demands that you show up, even when excuses seem valid and motivation is nowhere to be found. And this is exactly why discipline is so powerful, because it moves you even when your emotions don't align. Discipline is the greatest form of self-respect. Each time you keep a promise you made to yourself, you reinforce the belief that you are capable, strong, and trustworthy. You stop being someone who talks about change and start becoming someone who creates it. That shift in identity is what fuels long-term transformation. Discipline isn't just about controlling your actions, it's about sculpting the version of you who can handle the success you're aiming for. One of the most important lessons about discipline is that it's built through small choices, not big moments. It's built every morning you choose to get up on time, every time you choose to work instead of procrastinate. Every day you follow through on your plan, even if the progress feels tiny. Those choices compound. Those choices rewrite your habits. Those choices slowly close the gap between your present self and your future self. Discipline also protects your goals from the inconsistencies of your mood. You won't always feel confident. You won't always feel inspired. You won't always feel ready. But discipline doesn't care about moods. It cares about direction. When you are disciplined, your actions aren't dictated by how you feel. They're dictated by the standards you've chosen. You learn to lead your emotions instead of being led by them. Another powerful truth is that discipline doesn't restrict you, it frees you. When you're disciplined, you think more clearly, act more intentionally, and waste less time on distractions that don't matter. You feel more in control of your life because you're no longer reacting to everything around you. You're building, creating, and moving with purpose. The clarity that comes from discipline allows you to make decisions aligned with your future instead of your impulses. This bridge of discipline also reveals who truly wants the life they say they want. Many people love the idea of success, but only a few are willing to do the work that success requires daily. Discipline is the separator. It is the dividing line between potential and achievement. Talent may give you a head start, but discipline is what determines whether you finish the race. And perhaps the most transformative aspect of discipline is the way it shapes your self-identity. When you discipline yourself, you stop seeing success as something fragile or external. You see it as something you build internally. You become someone who can rely on yourself. You develop grit, resilience, and mental strength. You gain the ability to stay committed long after the excitement fades. Who you want to be is not created in a single moment. That version of you is built step by step, choice by choice, through disciplined action repeated until it becomes natural. Discipline is the bridge because it's the only thing strong enough to carry you across the gap between your dreams and your reality. If you want to reach the future you envision, don't wait for motivation, build discipline, because once you have discipline, there is no version of your life that you cannot create.